Welcome to Torah Smash, the podcast for nerdy Jews, where our lives of Jewish learning collide with our love of nerd culture. In each episode, we discuss what we lovingly call a Torah Smash, which we have defined as a beautiful collision of one thing from the world of Judaism with another from nerd culture. I am RDY, and joining me today are
Barack Malkin.
Ethan Lane Miller.
Cantor Ross Wolman.
Woohoo!
Yes!
Hey.
Our guest for today's episode is my friend Cantor Ross Wolman. Ross grew up in the 80s and 90s with a healthy blend of Star Wars, Star Trek, Mystery Science Theater 3000, Hosewater, and Saturday morning cartoons, partnered with Jewish life in central Pennsylvania. As part of training at Hebrew Union College, he lived in Jerusalem for 2 years and was a regular at the Cinematheque marathons. His favorite TV show is The Venture Brothers, and his favorite movie is Shaun of the Dead. His bar mitzvah Torah portion was Ki Tisa, and he is probably my second favorite Cantor. Welcome, Ross.
Wow, that is high praise.
That is very high praise.
Wow. So it's Josh Breitzer and then me. That's amazing.
No, I do not share a home. I do not share a home with Josh Breitzer.
I feel this is brave stuff, RDY. We've had many Cantors on the podcast that probably now won't come back.
I will say that Ross and I, whenever we get together, even if it's been years and years, it just goes right into the banter that we finished last time. And it's so comfortable and he's so warm and wonderful. I just absolutely love spending time with him and his wife. And
We are soul sisters.
now his family. Yeah, we're soul sisters.
Those relationships are nice. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you said your favorite movie is Shaun of the Dead, and that is always in like my top 5. It's so, man, Edgar Wright did such a great job on the Cornetto trilogy. Like the writing on them is beautiful. It's so funny.
I really need to fill that nerd hole.
You still haven't seen it?
Next time you're in town, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that would be fun. Okay. Done.
Ross, I notice a Philadelphia Eagles hat, so I'm curious where you hail from.
Originally from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Temple undergrad, got my Philly cred, and yeah, lots of love. Nifty Par. Didn't grow up at Camp Harlem. Pre-Camp Harlem days from my home synagogue, but
Sisti?
Sisti, very good. Shari Shemayim Temple Youth. That's right.
That was the Amish contingent?
Yes, it was actually.
Shoe fly pie. It's shoe fly pie matzah is what we have.
Amazing. It's amazing.
I spent 2.5 years in Nifty Par, and one of the home hosted events when I was there was in Lancaster. It was such a fun community to be in. Very diverse, but also yes.
Cool. Well, take it away, Ross.
Okay. So last week, Parashat Noach, I just moved back to Chicago, and I work at North Shore Congregation Israel in Glencoe, and had just got to sit and listen to some beautiful Torah when our senior rabbi, Wendy Geffen, spoke a week ago on October 24th. And this is a take that I had never heard before, and it really sat with me, and then I immediately texted RDY and said, this is amazing, and it reminds me so much of this nerd culture. So,
and just to be clear, we are not recording on Shabbat.
We did not record
quite a week ago when we were recording.
So the idea of the Tower of Babel story, right? They were building this tower. It's actually only 9 verses within the story, the book of Genesis, right after the story of the flood, before the entire long genealogy takes place. And
I didn't realize in the old time they called them verses and not stories. The tower was only 9 stories tall.
Oh my God.
Oof.
So
we're off to a good start here, ladies and gentlemen.
Great. You are a dad, so I guess you can tell dad jokes.
Yeah.
So the idea that the Tower of Babel, according to Rabbi Geffen, is that this is pre-Judaism. So Judaism has not started yet because Lech Lecha with Avram and Sarai is when Judaism really begins. So we're still in this like human stories, like Adam and Eve. This is not yet the Jewish story. Like this is a story of humanity. So somehow, people decide that they're going to start taking bricks and making a tower, and God decides to destroy the tower, as we know. Many have said it was because of their zeal to reach God in heaven. Well, according to Rabbi Geffen, this is not so much the case. It was bad because they spoke with one voice. You'll notice there are no names mentioned. There were no individuals. And in the story of, and I'm truncating a bit because it was a beautiful 15 to 20-minute sermon. They even spoke like automatons. Their Hebrew was mechanical. They used a small number of letters within these these especially specifically verses 3 and 4, and that's just fascinating. So she brought it back to say that in Genesis 21:28, it says, Pru orvu umil'u et haaretz v'chiv shuha. Be fertile and increase, fill the earth and master it. So remember that first commandment from God said, go eat, drink, and be merry, have kids, fill the earth and master it. So God destroyed the Tower of Babel not because they were trying to reach heaven, but because they were too unified. They spoke with one voice. They were not creative. They were innocent and afraid. They said, let's build this tower, lest we be spread out and individualized. Let us be together as one. Just like Adam and Eve in the garden, they didn't understand.
Let us make a name for ourselves.
Let's make a name for ourselves. So remember, this is after Noah and the flood. God recreated humanity, and now they were simple again and afraid. So God wanted them to fill the earth and master it. The tower had to be destroyed. They could not do so if they all spoke with one voice. So God confused them and gave them all different languages. And that's it. You may guess the smash.
Okay, I've got a couple of guesses.
Does this have to do with everyone's obsession with Duolingo?
This is not a sponsored. This is not.
No, yeah, not a sponsor.
I'm going to give. Wait, can I give my wrong guess first before you give a possible right guess?
It's great that you think I'm giving a possible right guess.
It's not this because it's so new, but I just finished watching the newest season of Gen V, and there's a villain who has power that allows him to control other people. And so everybody's doing what he wants to do, sort of thing.
Oh, puppets.
Yeah, like sort of puppet hive mind situation.
I don't know
No.
Gen V. So.
No, sure. It's based off of The Boys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that the one that's a cartoon?
No, it's live action.
Oh, okay.
They did one season of The Boys that was cartoon as like a spin-off of it. So I can see, yeah. It was based off of a graphic novel.
Is it Red Scare communism? Everyone was building the tower together.
Wow, that's not really nerdy, but it's a great guess.
Thank you.
Like Red Skull?
Red's in there somewhere.
There was a series from Superman called Red Sun, where he landed in Russia instead of in Kansas, and like what would have happened had Superman been controlled by the Russians. It was a very good series of comic books.
I'd like to observe that you say, was he actually controlled by the Russians?
Yeah.
Or was it he just raised by their values?
I think raised by the Russians. But
and then what does that word
point.
choice say about you, RDY?
It's about the Americans in the 80s, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one other guess. For this in terms of unified. Some of the stuff you said led me to think of Ultron from Age of Ultron, of like controlling a whole bunch of other robots and doing like it was all him, one voice, one goal, no creativity, no like just multiply and fill the earth, right? That was their thing. But yeah,
I love that, especially with the where it went with What If, how it was just run by himself.
Yeah.
But that was not it.
I do have some serious guesses. Is it the Borg?
Yes.
Hey,
Ethan Lane Miller, of course you get the Borg guess.
very nice.
Episode has been sponsored by Ethan Lane Miller.
Thank you. Well, yes, how old I am?
Yeah.
I'll be 36 in January.
Okay, so like TNG came out when you were...
Ooh. Hey, Ross, I just want you to tread carefully if you're going to judge Ethan's start.
No, because like like I grew up I was in elementary school when TNG came out. I'm 45, and
so for me, what was airing as I was like formative was Voyager, but I was still like caught the TNG reruns and then the original series movies. So like that was my entry point. But Voyager was the one that was like actively airing as I was like being able to form memories.
Well, and like the Borg is so central to that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for this, you guys.
So the Borg, they speak with one voice. They are hive mind collective, computers that are taking over organic life forms and entire cultures and civilizations and taking the best of what they have and integrating it into their own. And resistance is futile.
I think for the sake of my sister Susan, who has no nerdy background, could you go a little more basic with what the Borg is? We've definitely already implied that it's a Star Trek product.
Sure. Well, it started in I should have I should have looked up the episode name, but
I think it's Q Who. I think it's Q Who.
It's Q Who.
Thank
I
you.
had looked it up earlier.
Season 2, season 4, it's somewhere in there. Season 2, thank you. And okay, so Q, who is this nemesis of Captain Picard, Q is an omnipotent, godlike being who just tries to play with Captain Picard and challenge him in different ways. He says, "Fine, you think you're ready? You think you know what's happening?" And he snaps his fingers, and the Enterprise is thrust into the Gamma Quadrant, where the Borg is thriving and operating, and they encounter this unknown cube, and they I don't recall exactly what happens if they, I should have looked this up, if they hail the cube or if the Borg beam onto the Enterprise, but they encounter the Borg and they are hostile and they say, your culture and consciousness will be added to our own. And they also talk with one voice, as in like a responsive reading in synagogue. So when
chorus,
a chorus, they're all talking at the same time, different voices, different timbres, but all talking as one. So it's very eerie when you hear it on the on the recording when they're communicating.
Mhm.
So they somehow encounter them first person, and they're hostile and they shoot them with phasers, but then eventually their phasers don't work anymore. They adapt. They have little force fields over their bodies that protect the Borg, and they what do if they get you? Well, they inject you with something and take you prisoner, and then they start adding mechanical pieces to you and hook your brain and your mind up to their collective, and then they start assimilating you. Literally, they say you will be assimilated. And so
I have a question. Just the way you're describing it, and I'm not like Star Trek is another one of my holes, but I know just enough about Star Trek to sound dumb once you start really talking about it. The metal thing on Seven of Nine, did that come from the Borg?
that was one of her implants. She was a child when she was assimilated. So she, like there are certain things that once you disconnect someone from the Borg, when, I guess we can't say out loud without spoilers, but, a very high profile person on the show becomes assimilated. But then when they return to the show, when they return to the Enterprise, there's no physical mark on them, even though we find out later that but there are still implants within their body. But Seven of Nine had some things and some stuff on her hand that
I appreciate the spoiler protection of an almost 40-year-old TV episode.
well, RDY doesn't know.
Well, we also have a rule that if you haven't, if more than like a couple of months go by and you haven't seen it, then you have to expect people to talk about it.
Okay.
And I have seen First Contact, so I did have a very precursory knowledge of the Borg.
Yeah, we did an episode on First Contact, didn't we, Ethan? Yeah.
That is the second best Star Trek movie, if you ask me. But the first one being The Voyage Home. Wrath of Khan is fine.
I thought you were going to say The Final Frontier.
Stop it.
All the Star Trek fans just paused to laugh.
Everyone loves Cybok. Come on. Everyone loves Cybok. So anyway, so the Borg end up getting the Enterprise says, all right, Q, you got us, but the nemesis between the Federation and the Borg begins. And it really carries through all the way through, the end of the show, Picard, without spoilers, but it's a major, major part of the Picard show that came out a few years ago and had 3 seasons.
I think the Borg are such a big, big part of Star Trek. Like when you talk about like 90s era Trek and like who are the who are the folks, like you're probably naming the Borg, the Dominion, Gul Dukat, like stuff like that. And it's worth pointing out that the Enterprise encounters the Borg because of Q, because this omnipotent being is judging humanity and makes a choice where humanity says, no, we're ready for this. And this omnipotent being says, are you sure you are? Let me give you a taste of the wonders of this galaxy that you're not even prepared for. And the Enterprise starts to deal with the Borg and realizes, oh my gosh, we are so outmatched. And at the end, they're begging the omnipotent creature to be like, okay, we get it. Please send us home. Please rescue us. And there are, I think, some, I've never thought of these parallels until now. Like this is so interesting.
Yeah.
Did Rabbi Geffen give the Borg smash, or was that you?
That was me.
Because when you were describing the Tower of Babel, I was reading it a little bit in Hebrew, and it reads like a Dr. Seuss book because the words are so simple and repetitive. It's wild. I never thought to look at the Hebrew before.
And in fact, in early Zionist propaganda with, hey, let's build the land, they actually borrow this language. Havu Levanim is I wrote part of my thesis on, but some of this was the Zionist mythos of grabbing stories from the Bible from Tanakh to create a culture from nothing, because they actually had to create an Israeli culture from nothing, and songs were just French or Russian melodies that they adapted to be. So you could even say that, like, the Yishuv, the early Israeli culture, was also an assimilation of all these different diaspora things to create a whole, to create a, like a collective, which now we know as the state of Israel and the people of Israel, which is also quite interesting. Another parallel.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is a warning against assimilation or if we're going too deep.
I mean, Dave, I don't know if you volunteered with the Ethiopians in Mivas Eretz
Natalie
Zion.
did.
So very much what they were doing is trying to teach these newly arrived Ethiopians like how to be Israeli. And, just like everything else, the second generation definitely knew it, but it was hard. For example, Ethiopian culture, they don't have a concept of appointments. They just say, I'll see you tomorrow. And you just show up whenever you get around to it. You go to the market or you go to the doctor. And they were expecting them to be, contemporary Israelis and understand the concept that you have to show up on time, which is also
I have colleagues like that.
Can I ask, because I don't know enough of the Tower of Babel, the thing that I always heard and remembered is that everybody was working together to build this tower, and God said no and had them all speak different languages instead and all different tongues, and so then they could not complete this tower, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. And exactly what they were worried about, because in the early verses it says we have to do this unless we are dispersed, and their punishment is they're dispersed.
So then my follow-up is for Ethan. Is there a situation where on Star Trek the Borg were doing so well on creating or trying to complete some task that then some outside force went, no, let's force you all to not understand each other? Did the Borg ever have to face that?
So there are some episodes that deal with drones that get disconnected from the collective.
Yeah, that's sort of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there are, I mean, that's kind of Seven of Nine's whole arc, just from immediate. But there are other kind of smaller stories that deal with drones on their own, either as an individual or as a small group themselves, trying to figure out what to do with themselves and how to deal with it. And such great, like, little.
What are you talking about?
Oh God, the Star Trek fans are loving this. But like in the first episode where Seven of Nine is disconnected from the collective, she's still like got a bunch of her Borg implants in her, and she is still speaking with third person. She asks, "What have you done to us?" when asking the Voyager crew like what they had done to her. So it is in the context of the show, if you have been a part of the collective for longer than just a little bit, it becomes very, very hard to adapt to being a, pun intended, to being a human or whatever species you are as an individual.
Nice.
I think it's safe to say that there was a plot where they took one of these individualized Borg drones and reimplant to try and break up the collective, to take this individualized Borg drone, which is just a person, they call them drones, and to reinsert them into the collective to say, let us confound them, and they will no longer talk to each other. They will realize their self-identity, and they will realize what they can be based on their species and their origin. And that was a whole arc. I think two episode arc or something.
So did the people at the Tower of Babel also have that epiphany of we're more powerful as unique individuals as opposed to striving together for this tower towards the heavens?
RDY Midrash?
Not any midrash I'm aware of, but the midrashim are vast and voluminous. But I will say that kind of the opposite does occur in a midrash I am aware of, where one of the things that makes God realize what they're doing and how little they care for each other is when they mourn when they drop a brick and don't blink when a person falls.
Mm.
That's the story that I was just looking up that I'd heard, that the value of the brick, because it was so tall and they walked so high, and it took a year for them to bring a brick up to the top to add to the that when someone fell, they weren't sad, and when someone dropped a brick, it was like, "Whoa, are we that the tower has lost a brick?"
Yeah, I think that's pretty much that. I think that they don't get that story, but that feels very Borg-like. Of right, the the systems broke down. We have to care about that. But when a Borg drone dies, there is no concern. Yeah,
Just learning how to not make it happen to them.
yeah. This is a
Correct.
great. This is a direct smash. That's awesome.
Well, and I wonder, I mean, the Borg had a queen, and that was a whole different dimension
Hmm.
because she was individual and she was unique. And, especially in the Picard series, they took it in a different direction. But, there was also not just physical assimilation, but there was also a way that the queen was able to manipulate people beyond physical implants. So the question is, as they adapted and she found ways to spread the Borg beyond the mechanical implants, I wonder if there were other ways of in the story of Babel to create what they were trying to do besides laying bricks one by one. I mean, it's a very rudimentary, simple story, but I wonder, I don't know.
I'm thinking about how this might apply to modernity and how, like, when is assimilation a positive thing and when does it become too much?
So I actually think of, and I don't know, Barack, let me know if this ends up getting cut. But no, it's good.
Why
I
do you
don't
guys
know.
lead with that? Why?
I want to preface it for when you're scrubbing
it
the
wasn't
episode.
guys, it was him.
All right. It makes me think of Spurtus and Dr. Karen Freeman's class on Israel, and the not just like the different branches of Zionism that make up Israel, but it makes me think of some of the real challenges of folks who advocate a one state solution, where a one state that pulls in the Palestinian territories then is no longer a Jewish state. It is a religious pluralistic state, but it is no longer a solely Jewish state.
Well, that's the
So-
conundrum.
Yeah.
As the Arabs are multiplying and Christians are multiplying, when does the Jewish majority stop being a majority? And can Israel be a democratic state and a Jewish state?
Well, I
I
think
mean,
that's
these are foundational things that have been
yeah.
talked about for a while.
And I also I'm going to say something, and I'm not comparing one with the other, but I also want to say that I think that's the issue that white nationalists are having with the United States right now, of calling people illegal aliens instead of immigrants, like the creating this other that's washing out what they believe to be is the pure American, when I believe pure American is this melting pot of cultures, right? That's what I view as American, but they view it as white Anglo-Saxon. And so this idea of like unity together, different people have different senses of what that unity means. So when I think that's the same issue when people discuss the one state solution, is that when you say one state solution, what does that mean for the state? what does that look like in the end? Are they talking about one culture, or are they talking about a melting pot that allows for cultures, but just one state so that there's no borders that are being fought over? Right.
I don't think they've thought about it that hard.
Right. That's
Um,
fine. I do want, oh, go
which
ahead.
is another problem. But what you said about American culture is kind of what was in my head when I
Yeah.
asked the question.
Yeah. I also want to jump back to what you had said before, Ross, about the queen having individuality. And I want to push on that a little bit because my perspective of the board is not that the queen has individuality, it's that the queen is the motherboard, is that she gives, it's the Borg is her and she is the Borg, is that it's like Ultron situation, as I right, like somebody is making decisions, right? The Borg don't talk together about stuff, they are told to do something. And so I don't view her as having individuality. I just view the Borg as being, as she's in charge. And so it's a weird mix of she is them, but she can talk for herself, but she's controlling. So like yes, there's individuality, but it still becomes this group mindset in the end. I don't know if that makes sense. It's
That does.
okay.
Does Q stand for Queen?
No.
So it's different characters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There is I mean, the Q are a species that we don't really know their origin. We've seen their world at times, but it's represented as like a gas station or different places within Earth so that we can comprehend what it might be.
Hugh is played by John Delancey, who would love to be compared to the sexy Borg queen, I'm sure.
Yeah, but they're not. They're a completely different entity.
John Delancey, who played in Breaking Bad the pilot who crashed the plane and was someone's father, but I'm blanking on who.
Oh, I
Q
don't.
two.
In Breaking Bad, he said.
I know I was
It's funny,
Being
in retrospect, I thought the Borg Queen was kind of a letdown. Like, I love this idea of, somehow socialism works, or somehow the collective all working together for the betterment of themselves works. And I don't know if Gene Roddenberry created it and if that was the idea. Like, what happens when Marxism and socialism just go unchecked? And, they do create something that lives and breathes and it has to consume, just like just like in the Matrix. I mean, when
Yeah,
Morpheus
the Agent Smith stuff is the Borg.
says, you consume, you just are a virus and you go around taking, and the world is not better off with you in it. That's
So Star Trek also has a way of addressing that too. In the best Star Trek, which is of course Deep Space Nine, there is a conversation between two alien characters, not human and not Federation. It's Quark and it's Garrick, and they're talking about what contrasts the Federation. So, the utopia, egalitarian society, and the coming war with the Dominion, a very authoritarian, oppressive state. And Quark, who's a bartender, pulls out a drink and hands it to Garrick and says, I want you to try it. And Garrick tries it and like gags and goes, this is disgusting. What is it? And Quark goes, it's root beer. It's an earth drink. And you know what's terrible about it? It starts to grow on you. And he goes on to say, like, at least the Dominion is upfront about what they want to do. He's like, in the Federation, we all meld together, we lose our culture, and soon we're all going to be drinking root beer and not being who we are. He's like, the Federation is insidious, but the Dominion at least is straightforward. It's such an interesting critique.
I feel personally attacked. Love root beer. I wonder
Same.
I'm wondering if there was ever a point where I did not like root beer.
I can't remember a time when I did beer.
This is how I feel about stuffed cabbage. I really didn't like stuffed cabbage as a kid, and now I love it every chag.
Is there something about I think initially when the Borg were introduced, they were the same concept of like a computer-based program all working together. And I have not, sorry fans, I haven't seen Matrix 3. I've seen 2, but I ignored it because it was terrible.
Yeah, don't be sorry about that.
Is there a brain behind Agent Smith's? Like, is there a Queen
I think,
Bee?
I
Like
think
for them too?
I think in the Matrix, it's a bunch of individual computer programs in one civilization.
Okay.
Whereas the Borg are a hive mind.
Okay.
There was a controlling computer program like a that worked like a CPU, bad metaphor, but that's the best I got. And Smith was a rogue program who broke away from the system, which allowed him to infect it. What was fantastic is that Smith's critique of humanity, calling them a virus, is what he became.
Okay. Interesting.
Exactly like the Tower of Babel people and how everything that they feared would happen is their punishment. Good writing, it does it that way, but man, I will not to say that the second and third movies were good writing.
They
But
also like terrible. I think I didn't watch the third because the second movie just was so terribly done with the graphics and special effects that I just was like, what am I watching this for? So that's
Well,
why I
I
did.
just I also feel like the first movie did so well and made so much money that the studio executives wrote the Warshawskis such a big check that the second two scripts were just this coke-fueled nightmare.
I think for me, I liked the second, and then the third was so bad it retroactively made the second bad because they didn't
No.
stick the landing in any
Yeah,
way.
nicely put. Yeah.
the
Interesting.
fourth one that came out a couple years ago was also not good. I was disappointed.
Sorry.
It was-
There was a fourth one?
The problem is I don't know if you're being serious or not.
It's Resurrection a couple years ago.
Matrix 4, The Voyage Home.
They recast Morpheus. It was not great.
But I would say better than the other two sequels. It is the, and I understand what I'm saying here, it is the best of the Matrix sequels.
I'm astonished. I really
Interesting.
don't remember hearing about a fourth.
It came out, I think, during like peak pandemic.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I had a new kid.
It
Okay.
was straight to VHS.
Fun fact
That
to get
was
ready
a
for
meta
this.
joke.
It was one night I was the only one at Green Family Camp, and I watched the first Matrix in the Performing Arts Center.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
It was
that's fun.
fun.
That's so
great.
fun. I'm thinking about as you three talk about the Borg and my brain kind of catches up to the conversation. I'm wondering if it's a commentary on things like authoritarian governments who get people to think like, no, this is really what you want. I'm trying to think of an example without being so overtly political, but
I don't think so, just because they're not convincing the Borg to do anything. The Borg just do. And so there's no swaying of emotions in their culture that you would need in a
right,
regular
because
culture.
you don't need to sway emotions when you drug someone and plug them into a computer.
Yeah,
But in the real world, you do need to sway them somehow. So the maybe the injection is the swaying of emotions, and the plugging into the
sure.
computer is the reprogramming, literal in their case, figurative in ours.
Sure. Yeah.
I like it.
Unfortunately, in real life, the answer is Star Trek: The Next Generation tried to introduce a villain in the first season, and it failed spectacularly. And in season 2, they needed to come up with something new, and the Borg came about because of that.
Sounds like a villain.
I mean, they did a good job.
And Dr. Pulaski.
And Dr. Justice for Pulaski, people give her a bad time.
Great. I'm so glad you two are enjoying this conversation.
I'm having a blast.
I just saw this recently, and maybe Ethan or Ross, you know more details on this. I saw one of those like butterfly effect scenarios that explains that
Is this Barack Obama?
yes, that because of Star Trek and Seven of Nine, Barack Obama became president.
Oh,
Yes.
I heard this.
Yeah,
This
and
is-
I won't dive into all the details.
This is factual.
But essentially, because Jerry Ryan was hired as the actress for Seven of Nine, things broke down within her marriage, and her husband was a senator, and so he ended up dropping out, which opened up a seat for a new senator, which became Barack Obama. And so therefore, this person is as a senator, and then ended up being able to run for president of the United States, all because of the terrible villain writing of the show that they needed to bring on the Borg, and therefore Seven of Nine. Yeah.
This is called the celebrity paradox. I'm on TV tropes. That is fascinating.
In big picture strokes, Barack, that's more or less the story.
Yeah. It always starts off because of the terrible writing of season 1 of The Next Generation. Was it not? Yeah, Next Generation?
Why do you guys try to get me to watch that all the time if it had such terrible writing?
Because it became so good.
So in Star Trek: The Next Generation, the first season was awful. The second season you
Can't get
began to
through it.
have these like golden nugget episodes where like you could tell they were figuring it out. This is one of those episodes, Q Who. And then there's something called Growing the Beard, where in season 2, Jonathan Frakes grows out his beard and it starts to like make things great. And then in season
That's the
3,
number one guy.
yes, he is number one.
Number one.
Make it so number one. Yes, it season 3, they figure out what they're doing and it just kind of takes off from there.
Yeah.
Then why do you guys keep trying to convince me to push through season 1? Shouldn't I start at season 2?
It's like
So hold on, Ross, I got one. Hold on. No, you need to hear me. You need to hear me.
He's our guest, Ethan.
Oh my
He's our
God.
guest.
He's gonna
You're
like
so
this. He's gonna like
welcoming.
this. My answer, RDY. Ready, Ross? You should watch it for the lore.
Wow, what a good Star Trek joke. Ross, I'm so sorry he interrupted you.
I do want to say,
send him the
because this is an audio medium, I do want to say that when Ethan said that what was apparently a brilliant joke, Ross's face lit up with amazement, shock, and joy.
All right, Ross, what were you going to say?
I don't know, something about tribbles. I don't know.
Anything else for us, Ross?
This is just a lot of fun. I've been a fan of the pod for a while, and I'm just grateful to add 5 cents.
I love these longtime
Really
listeners,
excited.
first-time callers. Yeah.
Yeah, really excited to have you on. I'm glad it all came together. And just like really looking forward to spending some time in Chicagoland with you next time I'm out there, hopefully.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you'd like to shout out in perpetuity?
I signed up my kids for Jewish camp at Azrui. Love Jewish camping, and I hope more folks are signing up their kids for Jewish camping. URJ Jewish camping specifically. I was also on the executive committee for Shirenu Volume 2, the new songbook that is really the next generation of Shirenu, the Bible for Jewish music. And
that's what you did there.
And it is, the last volume came out 24 years ago. These are all of the songs that everyone wishes were in a songbook. That is 363 songs, over 600 pages. It is also available as PDF if that's too big, but it is just a mountain of work and just an incredible resource.
It's amazing. I already have it.
I love my Shirenu growing up, but you promise me that Shirenu 2 is nothing like The Matrix 2?
It is not.
Okay, cool.
It is so not.
Great.
Because Shirenu 2 will have you keep going back and back and back and using it again and again and again.
I also have a podcast. It's called Jewish Trivia for Kids. There's a great podcast called Trivia for Kids, and I was like, we could do this. And it started with a Pesach episode during COVID, and we've done a few more. I do it with my kids and play it in the car, and let me see if our family can stump you.
How is the end of the episode the first time you're mentioning that you also have a podcast?
Yeah.
Because their episodes are few and far between. It's
oh, okay. So it's not like only
been a handful of episodes, but I hope it works and it's on all the podcasting.
Nice.
Trivia for Kids.
I'll have to check that out. My kids love listening to podcasts in the car.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Ross HaHores is my handle. It means Ross the Destroyer. It was a nickname that Israelis gave me on a bike ride in Israel. Ross HaHores. Yeah.
Oh, man.
My brain has always read that as Ross HaHorses.
That's great.
That'd be Ross the Galloper.
Actually, well, and what's ironic? The name Ross is actually a German name. It means steed, but I was named for my grandmother Rosalind. So that's a great coincidence.
Ooh,
and
steed.
if you ever want to check out, come to Shabbat, North Shore Congregation Israel in Glencoe on Lake Michigan. It's just an honor and a privilege to serve that community. And
what state? Just for those that don't know.
Glencoe, Illinois, in the north suburbs of Chicago, the North Shore.
To Chicagoans, when you say North Shore, it only can mean one state. That'll do it for this episode of Torah Smash.
Hold on. Wait. We didn't say. I want to do we should do a big thank you before you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got all excited because I got all excited for my line.
Ross, thank you for letting me talk over you today. I had so much fun.
Ross, nice to have more.
Great having you.
It was really great to have more than one Star Trek nerd on. For that, RDY and I could both sort of sit in silence together. It was enjoyable to have. I'm sure it was nice
we were texting each other this whole time.
I'm going to listen to this back and be like, I need to be tested for autism. I think this is my special interest.
This is like your gem, though. This is your area.
Yeah.
Like this was center of the bullseye, Ethan's special interest. I was like, oh, here we go.
I like how Ross was like, well, the Borg came in. Oh, I don't remember what episode. You're like, actually, it's Q.
I know exactly
Q
what
Who in a season 2 and it's episode. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much for texting RDY and for being available and flexible with our recording. But it was so great to have you on.
Thanks, guys. A real honor.
Can't wait to see you next time in Chi-Town, and hopefully we will do some movie watching when I'm in town and Natalie's not. Is it okay if I do?
No, thank you for asking for permission. Granted.
That'll do it for this episode of Torah Smash. Our fiscal sponsor is Jewish Creativity International. Our theme music was created by Sean Vogel. You can check out Sean's bands and studio work at www.thesleepywest.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen. It helps others find us and is an excellent way to support the podcast. We want to hear from you and continue today's nerdy discussion. Go to torasmash.com to find where to connect with us online, purchase swag from our store, support us with a donation, find previous episodes, and more. And why did Borg Israelites not live in the Tower of Babel? Because it was easy to resist the tower, but to resist tents is futile.
Has there been singing on the pod before?
I sang a pun outro once, but no, feel free to change that today. Torah Smash the musical.
Oh, I'd do that.
Why does television need 25 episodes in a season? I mean, it's exhausting. I can only fold so much laundry.
Ethan, man, if pizza, I'm gonna.
And they are.
Wait, take it again, Ross. I was yelling at Ethan.
Our physical sponsor is Jewish Creativity International. Our theme music
Stop. Our physical sponsor?
Did I do it again?
Can you imagine if you did like, you know what? We'll just to keep the schedule, we'll do this episode without Ethan.